This video is for adoptees out there that may be struggling. If you're happy and you are watching these videos, I'm really glad you're happy. The goal of this channel is to make other adoptees feel validated and safe and let them know that they are not alone, because being a transracial adoptee or being in any situation where you don't feel understood and you feel isolated can be very scary. And you know, I live this, and I want to help other adoptees grow and be healthy, and acknowledging some of the issues that are common in adoption can be the start or foundation to healing. So that's the reason why I'm making these videos. It's the reason why I started this channel. And I really hope that this helps somebody out there who needs this help, because I was never taught about codependency. In all my years of therapy, I did learn about it in AA, but therapy never linked the two together, that I could possibly be in a codependent relationship with my adoptive mom or dad, and relied heavily on them as an attachment because of all the issues of relinquishment. So codependency between adoptive parents and adoptees. Codependent relationships between adoptees and adoptive parents can develop when one or both parties have unmet emotional needs and rely excessively on each other for validation, identity, or emotional support. I relied heavily on my adoptive parents for validation, and I never got that. These dynamics often stem from unresolved trauma, attachment issues, or a lack of healthy boundaries. Below are the signs of a codependent relationship in this context. So if you're an adoptee, it's not going to hurt you to learn about this. It may help you. A lot of people out there are like, oh my God, it's so negative, it's so dark. Why don't you talk about the good times, the positive? It's like, what I experienced was complete isolation, cultural incompetency, and just years and years of being told that I was not grateful enough, when my needs as a transracial adoptee were just being completely dismissed and overlooked. And that is not positive, my friend. So sorry, I'm not trying to be negative, but you have to go into the problems to be a good problem solver. I'm sorry, that's the way that works. Signs in the adoptee. 1. Excessive need to please, constantly trying to meet the adoptive parent's expectations or at the expense of their own needs or identity. Fear of disappointing their adoptive parents or being perceived as ungrateful. Number 2 is difficulty with independence, hesitation to make decisions or live independently without the parent's approval or involvement. Fear of separating emotionally or physically from the adoptive family. This was a big one for me. I used to always be a mama's boy, and I was severely, dramatically attached to my mom. Like, I could not function without knowing if it was okay to do stuff, and she was a helicopter mom as well, which isn't good or bad. You got to make your decision if that's good or bad. But I'm just explaining what my experience was, and I was severely attached to my mom. I was scared of everything, and I was just a very shy, attached at the hip kid, and I really was just like very codependent on my mom for everything, and it was not good. Number 3 is suppressed feelings, avoiding expressing negative emotions, anger, sadness, to avoid conflict or rejection. Struggling to acknowledge or address feelings of grief, loss, or resentment related to their adoption. Number 4 is low self-esteem, deriving their sense of worth primarily from their adoptive parents' approval or affection. This is me, man. This is me too. I mean, other people have to be going through this. Like, I'm not afraid to admit that I was completely codependent on my adoptive parents. And not everybody's like that. I'm just saying, for the people that may be or need help, you know, codependency can happen, and it may happen in adoption. Feeling responsible for their adoptive parents' happiness or well-being. Number 5 is caretaker behavior, taking on the role of emotional caregiver for their adoptive parents, sometimes reversing parent-child roles. Some signs in the adoptive parents are, number 1 is over-involvement, micromanaging the adoptee's life, decisions, and relationships under the guise of being protective. This was my mother. I had no boundaries. She used to listen to my phone calls, and I could hear her breathing. I had no sense of like autonomy. She like checked the gas on our cars, even in our teenage years, and it was bad. I mean, she had a list of all my friends' numbers and strangers that I didn't even know she had access to. I found this piece of paper one day, and I was just like, "What the hell is this?" There was zero boundaries, zero respect for my boundaries, and that's just not good. I'm telling you from experience. Difficulty allowing the adoptee to form their own identity separate from the family. Number 2, emotional dependence, relying on the adoptee to fulfill their emotional needs such as companionship or validation. Viewing the adoptee's independence as a threat to their relationship. Number 3 is overcompensation, overindulging and overprotecting the adoptee to compensate for perceived losses or early life trauma. Rescuing their adoptee from challenges rather than fostering resilience. That was me. Number 4 is fear of rejection. Fear of adoptee leaving them, in quotes, emotionally or physically, which may manifest as guilt tripping or controlling behavior. Number 5 is difficulty setting boundaries. Blurring the lines between parent and friend roles, leading to unhealthy emotional enmeshment. Signs of relationship dynamic is number 1, enmeshment. Lack of clear boundaries with both parties overly involved in each other's lives. Difficulty distinguishing between personal needs and the needs of the other. Number 2 is mutual fear of abandonment. Both adoptee and adoptive parents fear emotional separation, leading to clingy behaviors or excessive reassurance seeking. Number 3, avoidance or conflict. Both parties suppress issues to maintain harmony, creating inauthentic relationship. Number 4 is over-identification. Adoptive parents may expect the adoptee to fully align with their values, beliefs, or cultural identity, limiting the adoptee's self-expression. Number 5, guilt as a control mechanism. Guilt, whether intentional or not, is used to maintain the relationship, making the adoptee feel indebted or obligated to the parents. Fear, obligation, and guilt, the fog. Breaking the cycle, addressing codependency requires intentional work from both adoptees and adoptive parents to establish healthier boundaries or dynamics. Number 1 is therapy and support. Individual or family therapy, particular in approaches like attachment-based therapy, can help both parties process and build their healthier boundaries. Number 2 is encouraging independence. Adoptive parents can support the adoptee in developing autonomy and decision-making skills without guilt or fear. Number 3 is building self-worth. Both parties can focus on cultivating self-esteem independent of their relationship. Number 4 is healthy communication. Open discussions about emotions, expectations, and boundaries can foster a more balanced relationship. I was always told any questions I had about my adoption, I have false expectations of my parents. And I was like, I just stopped talking. I had selective mutism because I'm like, I'm not going to get the answers I need from my parents. I got to do my own research. And that's all I recommend you guys do. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but you're going to come to your own conclusions no matter what I say or what I don't say. But recognizing these signs and addressing them can lead to a more supportive, authentic, and empowering relationship between adoptees and their adoptive parents. Hope this helps, my friend. Love you, and I'll see you in the next video.